Welcome to Wine Road, the wine, when, and where of Northern Sonoma County. I'm your host, Marcy Gordon, with Beth Costa, Executive Director of the Wine Road.
Thanks to Ron Rubin, we're able to keep our podcast rolling along. The financial support of River Road Family Vineyards and Winery allows us to keep recording, keep sipping wine, and keep sharing stories with our listeners. Check out their website at riverroadvineyards.com and explore their Chardonnay, as well as a finely crafted Pinot Noir from the Russian River Valley. That's riverroadvineyards.com. And hey, thanks, Ron, for allowing us to make this show happen.
Welcome to episode 253. Today, our guest is Beth Grossman, podcast fan extraordinaire, lover of wine country, and she's here visiting from
Arlington, Virginia.
Arlington, Virginia, all the way to come see us on the Wine Road because she loves wine country and she's a listener to the podcast, and we want to celebrate people like Beth who follow the podcast and come and enjoy wine country, and we're going to learn from her all the things she loves here. Welcome, Beth.
Yeah, so I wanted to have Beth because we have actually met up in person a few times, and I realized that she's been to wine country so many times, and as someone who's coming here to visit, she's actually just doing all these kinds of things that I live here and don't get to do. So I thought, I'm going to get Beth on the show because if you're listening, you want to know what you should see and do when you come here. And gosh, so how long have you been coming here, Beth?
I think we started coming here about 1994.
So it's been a while.
Yes.
Wow, so you've seen the sights and the changes and the growth.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was very different when we first came here. We came out for a wedding of a friend who was getting married, I think, in Bodega Bay. And we went, oh, wait, that seems like it's near the wineries. And so we got a book at that point.
That's funny.
Because the internet.
The old school media
wasn't quite a thing yet.
That's what Marcy wants to know. You got a book.
Got a book,
favorite.
Wineries of North America.
Oh, wow.
And we went up through Napa and Sonoma. We did 23 wineries in 4 days. I would recommend that to anyone.
Oh, my gosh.
But we went up through Napa, and then we came over to Sonoma, and I think we went to Petroncelli first. I can't.
Oh boy!
But
yes.
everything, everybody was like so friendly in Sonoma. There was such a nice vibe, and yes, it was much quieter than it is today. There was. We stayed at the Inn on the Plaza, which is still there in Healdsburg, but that was the only hotel around there.
Right.
Yeah.
The tourism industry hadn't really blossomed yet. Yeah.
Yep. So, it was definitely, most of the wineries were doing free tastings. They were just happy to have you show up.
The glory days.
Yes. It was,
Exactly.
But it was always a nice feel up
but
here.
the vibe is still the same. It's just
is.
things have changed in terms of growth and just the proliferation of wineries. But the vibe, I think, in Sonoma is still that friendly, walk right in and, meet some people feeling.
Absolutely, and that's why we keep coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been coming for that many years, then we're obviously doing something right somewhere along the line. So do you have some kind of favorite places? Do you usually stay in Healdsburg, or do you stay more in Santa Rosa, or do you kind of pick and choose each time?
We sort of pick and choose. We usually try to stay around Healdsburg, but sort of depending on how long we're staying and how flush we're feeling, we change. Sometimes lately we've been coming out and staying in VRBOs or Airbnbs, either around Healdsburg or up in Dry Creek. But we've sort of done a little bit of everything, B&Bs, hotels, sometimes, we just stay at like the chain hotels in Santa Rosa or Windsor, and, so sort of just depending on our timing. But we usually try to stay somewhere around Healdsburg because it's sort of central to everything.
Easier to everything, right.
And
I think it's nice because lots of times when you do come, you're staying longer, 2 or 3 weeks maybe or something. So then an Airbnb or vacation rental is kind of the way to go.
Right.
And if you do that, Healdsburg, then you are just right there in the heart of everything.
It is. It's very convenient to everything, to all of the valleys and all the wineries, and to whatever else you need to do, grocery stores, etc.
Right.
And in 30 years, you've seen a lot of change in the lodging options.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
My gosh.
Yes.
From budget to I can't even afford to look at this place.
I know. I am.
Right.
I'm sort of amazed at some of the things that have been opening up.
Yeah.
Here.
It's incredible.
When we first started staying here, I stayed at the Plaza, and it was $85 a night.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, wow.
It's a Four Sisters property now. That is a beautiful inn.
It
It's
is a beautiful
and
inn.
you park right on the town square, and you open this little glass door, and you think, well, there's nothing here. Then you go upstairs, and gosh, the rooms and everything it's so beautiful, and you're right on the town square. It's amazing.
Yep. So that was before, Hotel Healdsburg, and now the Montage.
Right.
Talking about places you can't
Yeah,
afford
yeah,
to look at.
Yeah.
But there are other options still. You have to be a little more creative.
Right. And the vacation rentals are great. There's tons of those.
And
out
there
in the
really
valley.
is an option for every budget. So that is great here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go glamping out at the Wild Haven or whatever. Yeah, do it all. So do you have some, I know that you don't have, we don't want to have favorites, I guess, but that's just the reality. I mean, there's places that if you're going to come here, even every year, that you don't want to miss because you're familiar with them. They might recognize and know you at this point. So there's some places that you really always go, and then there's some new places you've just discovered?
Yeah, I mean, and I always discover new places every time we come here. I mean, not just new wineries opening up, but old wineries that I've never somehow managed to get to.
Right.
Because there are just so many. My husband and I tend to like to go to the smaller family-owned wineries, and I particularly like where folks are growing their own grapes and making the wine, and I can sort of see how those two sides inform each other. But if you go Russian River, I like Porter Creek. They're one of my favorites that I go to fairly frequently. They have a small tasting room in the woods. They've now, after COVID, added some outdoor seating, so it's nice. But they have, as with everything in Russian River, they have nice Pinots and Chards. And I did interesting rosé of Carignan that I like.
Nice.
And down the road from them, Motion, which we just discovered fairly recently.
Motion is great.
Where he's, a little bit of a mad scientist, Rick Motion, and has sort of always experimenting with different things, and also a custom crush facility, so that we were out there right before harvest a few years ago, and the person we were talking to said, in a week, there are going to be 21 winemakers and their interns all here making wine together.
A lot of people got their start at Motion. Yeah. It's amazing. Like we're a real incubator for a lot of young winemakers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if you like Pinot and Chardonnay, like basically you can stop anywhere randomly on West Side Road and it'll all be good.
Right.
So
you can't swing an empty wine bottle and not hit a great place.
Yeah. Not hit a great place.
I love that you mentioned Porter Creek. I just love that spot.
Yeah.
I mean, it is just very funky, and I love that they have a lot of outdoor seating now. There's always a dog running around, and Jonathan is usually there, and he's a doll. Yeah.
And I mean, in Russian River, I mean, like Dutton Goldfield and Dutton Estate, with the two brothers who run those wineries. Woodenhead, Linmar is a beautiful spot. Iron Horse for sparkling. Gary Farrell has wonderful views.
Yes.
And
that patio. Oof.
And they still, and I know that's not a small winery.
No, but they do a beautiful job. Yeah.
And they, and they make wines from some of they continue to have relationships with like Rocchioli and Bacigalupi, who are, longtime growers around here, and you'll see their wines, their vineyards named in a lot of wines around. Yeah. And you can go to their wineries as well. They also make a little bit of wine.
In the neighborhoods of the Russian River with the different wines they do.
Yep. And then in Dry Creek, I like A. Raffanelli.
Don't we all?
Yes.
Very nice cab, very nice inn, and a beautiful property. And I would encourage your listeners not to get scared. You have to call them to make an appointment. And don't, for the millennials and Gen Zers out there, don't be afraid to pick up the phone.
Yeah, you have to call. That's so funny.
You have to call, but it's worth it. The wines are really nice. It's the fourth generation of the family running it, and the space out there is just beautiful out on West Dry Creek Road. So, and then also in Dry Creek, Frick, who I know you've talked about before. Bill Frick, who is a one-man operation, has a small winery up a winding road, makes interesting Rhone varietals. I particularly like his Cinsault, which is sort of a lighter red.
Yes.
And he's just sort of a character. He's only open on weekends because he staffs the...
Because he's the whole thing.
He's the whole thing.
He's
he
everything.
Staffs it himself.
Yeah.
And I think the tastings are still free there, actually.
They are still free.
Which if you make your way up there. And so I encourage people to go there. And then, Ridge is a bigger winery, but they're really nice there, and their wines, they're primarily Zinfandel, or at least up in this part of the world. They have a very famous cab that they make elsewhere.
And it's a cool building.
It's a cool building with
straw bale, whatever building construction. It's amazing.
Yep, and they're really. We were up there this time with friends, and they're lovely. Their wines are great. They were some of the first people to, label everything with all the ingredients in the wines and all that. And then this weekend, just talking about discovering new places, we went to. Not for this weekend, for Barrel Weekend. Mm-hmm. We went to Raymond Burr, which we had only been to like 20 years before when it was Raymond Burr's his partner owning it. But there's a new owner, and the setting is beautiful, and the wines are nice. And we went up to Cass because, as you know, I was fortunate enough to win one of the Wine Road auctions and got a tasting and a tour and a sabering lesson up there.
That's so cool.
I love the sabering.
People love the sabering there. They kind of. I know many people who've done that. It's so fun.
It is so fun. I had one of my friends who's a former fencer. We gave her the saber, and she was very successful in savoring the wine. It was very impressive, and it is just an absolute beautiful setting, and we had a beautiful.
Was that your first time going to Cass?
That was my first time going.
Oh yeah, I remember saying, "Oh my God, wait till you see the view." Did they open the door for you to see the forest and the vineyard?
No,
That's my favorite spot.
Oh, I don't think I saw that, but I did. But we were sitting on the patio just looking out over Dry Creek Valley.
It's amazing.
And the sparkling at Cass is just so exceptional. So lovely.
I had said to Beth before that I turn on Dutcher Creek Road to go home to Cloverdale, and their driveway's like right at the corner.
Accidentally
so
turns into the driveway.
Sometimes I turn on the
bit.
driveway, and then once I'm on the driveway, I might as well just get another bottle of sparkling.
Absolutely.
I love that. There is a spot at Cast, and if you're up on the top patio tasting, it's their barrel room, and if the door happens to be open to the barrel room on both sides of the building, if you look one side, you look into the oak. It's a forest out there on one side, and it's like those old oak trees covered in moss and very ferny. It's like the hobbits definitely live there. It's amazing. And then if you turn the other direction, you look out over above Dry Creek Valley, and it's, to me, just like the coolest spot.
Magical. And their logo has like the little fairy.
Yes.
And the logo, they made these beautiful etched bottles. They do a little late harvest dessert wine.
Yeah.
And these smaller, oh my God, it's just such a beautiful bottle. It's the best gift. I always give it at Valentine's Day because it's like, it's a little dessert wine, but it's the most beautiful bottle.
Well, they said it's because it cast a spell on them when they saw it. And I thought, because it was the Hobbit forest.
Yeah. The whole, their design and packaging and their wine, everything there is spot on.
Yeah. And then what else? Anything else in the Dry Creek or Alexander Valley? Or,
There's so I could go on forever and ever about. I mean, I've gone to so many of them, and I enjoy almost all of them. I mean, one of the things is that there isn't a lot of bad wine around here. I live in Virginia, outside of Washington, D.C., and there's a nice growing wine industry in Virginia, and there's some very good wineries, but you have to be very selective in where you
pick
go.
And choose, right.
When you're here, you can't really stay in business if you make bad wine. And so
Viognier is the one wine they're very particularly well made in Virginia.
That's what they're known for. Yeah. But they've been trying to, there's some people trying to grow cab and other things. So
such a different climate. Humidity makes it difficult. There's a lot of pressure on the the vineyards because of that. But that industry, Virginia, has grown like unbelievably fast.
Yep.
And a lot of French people, a lot of investments there. Yep. But I always feel like if I can get myself, if I'm there in Virginia, I always Viognier. You're going to Virginia, you should drink Viognier.
I'll do that.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd encourage people to try different things. I mean, the Wine Road events are good for that, to sort of have a low commitment way of trying new wineries. I always try when I happen to be out here for a Wine Road weekend to try at least one place I haven't been before.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's what I'm always trying to encourage people to do. It's funny because when we sell our wine road events, every winery is limited to the number of people that can check in at that winery, just so we don't have, we don't want a winery to have 200 people waiting in line. So we just try to spread out the crowd. So once it's sold out, you have to pick someone else. And so oftentimes people are not happy with this because they wanted to go to, winery A. And so we explain to them, well, they're sold out now. You can go there later in the day, but go to winery B right down the street and check in. And people are usually not happy with that plan, but then they call us later and say, oh my gosh, I'd never been to Winery B. It was the best stop of the day. I'm so glad it worked out that way. It was amazing. Yeah. It's like you don't want to, we all get in a rut of you're going to go where you know. Yeah. But like this is your weekend. Go where you don't know. Try some new places and then, hit up the favorites on the way out.
And they're also different. I mean, there are places that have great views, and there are places that are making great wine, but they're doing it in an industrial warehouse somewhere. But the wines are really good and interesting, and the winemaker's really interesting. So it's sort of fun to mix and match. And
there's so many different experiences from small to big to
we did a survey after barrel tasting, and one winery that a lot of people liked and had a great experience at was Premonition, and they are in a warehouse district near Carroll Shelton, and that is just a warehouse. You roll up the door, but they met the winemaker, and it was a cool experience, and I think it shows what you can do. I mean, you can make this wine in this warehouse,
absolutely,
and make it turn out great. So
Beth, I'm curious, how did you get into wine?
Mostly by coming here. Actually, I hadn't really been into wine before this. I came by. We took that trip.
You came to wedding and
came to the wedding, started, knew nothing, followed this book, went to these wineries that we had no idea how good the wineries were, sending us to Stag's Leap and Gurgitch Hills and whatever.
Boy.
And, we had
really slumming.
Right, really slumming. We had no idea. It just said in the book, these were good wineries, so we stopped there.
And you were in your 20s.
And I was,
just learning,
Yeah, so just learning. In fact, going back to Virginia, we go to all these wineries, we come back to Virginia. There's some Virginia Wine Festival, and this is in the early days of Virginia wines, out in the middle of Virginia in a field somewhere. It is as it is in the summer in
oppressively hot,
98 degrees, 98% humidity. They were doing this outdoors
with red wine.
With red wine, and nobody. I mean, even if you had great wines, they would not have tasted
it's not the right environment.
Yeah.
But, we go there and we taste, and we expect it to taste like things tasted in Napa and Sonoma, and oh no.
It's hard to go back down to the farm after you've been to the mount.
Indeed. So that's when we started realizing that, there were sort of differences. But even even in our first tasting, one of the things was, people at the wineries were very nice, and they explained things. My husband always talks about, went into one winery, and, we kept hearing about oaky shards and Chardonnays and buttery Chardonnays, and there was one winery that, poured him one of their Chardonnays and said, this one's buttery, and another one that said, this one has oak in it. And he tasted both of them, and he was like, oh, wow, I really can tell the difference.
Then you can see it. Yeah, right.
And that's, particularly if you go, I think a lot of the wineries are very nice about things like that. I think particularly if you go at quieter times, like during the week or quieter times of year, people will really take the time to talk to you about
things. And that learning
things.
Component just makes your experience so much richer.
Oh,
and you really, that's what's so much fun. It's like that object lesson of what's buttery, what's oaky, and then also helps you hone your personal preference and what you really like. And then you're out at a restaurant and you go, oh, I like this because I've tasted that, and it makes you, more educated consumer, and you just enjoy everything more.
All right. And I always, we always ask questions. We'll sometimes go with friends who have less experience with wineries, and we always encourage them to ask questions. People are happy to answer questions. It doesn't matter that they seem sort of stupid to you when you ask them, or you're worried that they'll be stupid.
There's no stupid question.
I think people prefer that to you trying to show off how much you know.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the better path.
Right.
And the other thing, I recommend people do is to go on some of the winery tours. Yeah. I think that you learn a lot, both generally about the winemaking, but also about the particular winery you're at and what their sort of philosophy is. And if you're lucky, you get out into the vineyards. And it also helps just sort of punctuate your day, spread things out, so you're not just tasting.
Right.
Go.
Yeah, I definitely like a day with a variety. One day, I want to do one food pairing somewhere. Then I want to do one cave tour. Then I want to get out in the vineyard somewhere. Yeah, I like a variety. I want to make my day a variety.
Right. So I think that's how I mean, we got into wine by coming out here, and and we've sort of gradually learned. I mean, I don't consider myself at all an expert, but we've certainly learned.
Pretty sure you are. Let's see. Yeah,
more than the average bear.
Certainly more than the average bear.
Yeah.
But we always learn something new when we come out.
Yeah,
so.
that's what's fun. There's always something new to learn. I love that.
Yeah.
So when are you moving out?
Well, so this time we've stayed longer than we've ever stayed. We stayed 3.5 weeks.
Oh, nice.
3.5 weeks. And
so you're a part-time resident now.
So I'm a part-time resident. We've talked about trying to do once we retire, trying to take a year out here and really see the seasons from one end to another. I don't know if we'll be able to make that work or not, but that's sort of
you can see the
dream.
seasons in one day here.
Oh my God!
Yeah, no, really.
It can be
winter
in the morning, summer in the evening, spring in the afternoon. Yeah. It is it's very dynamic weather. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
And we've had the weather here. It was cool when we came, and it's been mostly lovely. And then all of a sudden this week it's very warm.
Hot, yeah.
And we've been watching the vines near our VRBO
just exploding.
They were bare.
Yes.
When we see the buds just starting to break, and then all of a sudden now there are leaves on everything.
That's an interesting concept. Come stay for a year, then you can write a little memoir. My year in wine country
a
instead of
year
going
in
to
Provence,
France.
right?
Yeah, instead of a year in Provence, a year in Sonoma.
Yes.
Actually, that's a good idea. It's a very popular genre of books.
Yeah, so I hear. I'll think about that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a way to finance it.
I'll help ghostwrite
exactly.
it.
I mean, you talk about how I do all the things that you talk about on the podcast, and then I go and do them because I hear about them. Whether it's Goldridge and their olive oil tastings and tours, or Safari West, or other things. SonomaCounty.com is actually really good.
It's amazing.
It lists both the annual festivals and it lists the events. The particular days you're going to be here. They're great. We're going to the California Artisan Cheese Festival this Sunday.
Oh yes, that's a great show.
I have never been.
We went to the Gravenstein Apple Festival one year. There's always something going
Marcy's
on.
thing, yeah.
Sebastopol,
Sebastopol.
Yeah.
And we were here for July 4th last year, and the Santa Rosa Symphony does a big concert on July 4th, and you can sit outdoors and listen to them. They have a wonderful facility, and then they do fireworks. There's there are galleries, there's
everything.
There's everything. We always have something new that we can do.
Well, I'm glad that you're onto the SonomaCounty.com. That is a great site. I also think that Sonoma Magazine has a great website, and that is like every new restaurant, every new hiking trail that opens. I just think they do an amazing job of tracking down new food trucks. I swear to God, like you name it, they
food trucks here are phenomenal.
Yeah,
it's just kind of everything is so elevated, but still very accessible.
Yeah, there's definitely affordable things. I mean, you can go as high as you want, but there's definitely affordable things that are really super good. Also, you'll have to come up to Cloverdale and go to Pix.
Oh, what's Pix?
It's the oldest. I believe it is the oldest hamburger drive-through place in California. And so they have a brand new owner, probably 6 or 8 months ago, or it's probably been a year since they bought it, but it opened just a couple of months ago. And they restored the original Pix burger sign that is just super cool. And they completely just gutted the whole place and super cleaned it up. But it's still, you sit outside at the bar at the counter and have your burger and your milkshake. And it's a very small menu. They do have beer and wine, but it's so cute.
We'll have to put it on the list. I mean, certainly the food here is just wonderful.
Oh, and yeah.
I think I mentioned to you the other day when I saw you that I could do a whole hour just on the bakeries in the area.
Oh yeah,
the bakeries.
So where are your favorites? You got to talk about that because we did talk about we met at Quail and Condor, which is like
So I mean, they're the classics. There's Downtown Creamery and Cousteau, which I think of as the classics, and then Quail and Condor, which is the newcomer and all
dangerous.
over. Yes, but also you had someone on your podcast a few weeks ago mentioning Sarmentine.
Yep, Sarmentine.
Which the croissants were as advertised,
Yes.
and they have great macarons.
We have Sarmentine in Sebastopol, and there's in Santa Rosa as well.
Yep. So I've gone to the Santa Rosa one. I've managed to get there twice so far.
You need to come to Sebastopol and come to the Barlow.
Yeah.
There's Sarmentine there, and a lot of little cute little wine bars.
Have you ever wandered around the Barlow?
Oh, yeah.
I would think so. Yeah.
I haven't, for whatever reason, I haven't gone down there this time, but we always manage to get down there.
Because there's always something new happening there.
Yeah, there's always something coming.
There's
So
always changeover.
Poppy that we've been to is now going to open in the Barlow in the old Woodford location.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So that'll be fun.
Cool. And the other sort of subcategory of bakeries is bagels and Druish in Healdsburg.
Yeah,
Definitely
Druish,
recommend them.
Grossman's.
And then right in Grossman's Nashery for pastrami and corned beef down in Santa Rosa.
And if you do that, you could stay at the Hotel La Rose. They're one of our Wine Road
Oh,
members.
yeah. It looks beautiful.
It's
I've
a
never
beautiful
stayed
place.
there.
We had a board meeting there a couple of weeks ago. Actually, it is a really cool place. Yeah.
Yeah, right next door. And, and even like the fancier places, there are ways of doing them less expensively.
Yeah.
I mean, the Matheson, we ate on the rooftop for the first time this time, and it was really lovely. Just, elevated bar food and good wine up there. One of our treats is that we go to Dry Creek Kitchen, which is, very much a white tablecloth fancy restaurant, but we eat at the bar.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Right.
And then you don't have to do the whole 3-course tasting menu. You can just order a la carte.
Right.
They have a great wine list, and they do a lot of good wines by the glass. And you can just sit at the bar and have a glass of wine and a little bit of good food.
Right.
You're living the life, Beth.
I know. That's why she's on the show. I'm like, oh my God, I wish I.
You're like the quintessential person who takes advantage of everything great here.
Well, she thinks about it. I mean, I think
you
it
really
was
plot it
maybe
out.
Wine and Food Affair, one event that you came to, and you said you'd gone to Gold Ridge Farms because and I'm thinking, oh my God, I hadn't been there yet. We had the owner on, but I have since gone. But I
They
thought
have great events at Gold Ridge.
you know what Beth might like is what is the place that you do in Sebastopol with the classes? I want to say
it's called Gather.
That's what
so it's like home art. It's like fiber and fermentation and all sorts of canning and
But you've made what did you make? Not limoncello. What did you do?
I did make limoncello there. I did a preserving class. We made lemon curd and limoncello, and I made jam for Richard because it was his lemons. And I went to a pickling class there. Cool. So it's very cool because we have such an abundance of produce and things grown here, and so they really take advantage. They also teach. It's all gardening, different garden things, knitting, crocheting.
Yeah, so I thought if Eric's here working, you could take some classes.
I'm between jobs, as I say.
You can take some classes.
So yes, my husband has been able to telework from here, which is how we could come out so long.
Nice.
And as I said, I'm between jobs right now, so I'm hanging out. And all the produce is so wonderful. I love in season going to Healdsburg Farmer Market. I saw that they have a new venue for it now.
It's really amazing.
So I think they're supposed to be doing a pop-up next week.
Have you seen it yet? The new it's across the street.
I just go to my Sebastopol farm.
I do that too.
I didn't know
every Sunday year round, never miss it.
Yeah. Yep. And I go to the chocolate shop that's right by there too in Sebastopol.
Oh, the Sonoma chocolate
and tea.
Yes, right there.
So
we've got some little cute things there.
Yep, absolutely. And the other like restaurants in Healdsburg that I like, we go usually once a trip to Tisa Bistro. My husband's mother was Austrian, and so he has a real weakness for schnitzel, and they have really good schnitzel.
Oh, nice.
And Parish Cafe, which is
I love
New Orleans.
Parish.
Sort of place,
there in a while.
And I think they're doing dinner now, but we always go there for brunch, and they have great beignets, and so and we went to Barn Diva this time with friends, sort of a treat, and it was actually we hadn't been there in a long time. They've redone things. It was actually quite good. So.
Oh, good. That's good to hear. I've been there in a long time either.
Worth a stop, and lots of good pizza, and all sorts of things. You could write a whole food guide.
But you definitely take advantage of all the things to do. I love that.
Yeah.
Besides wine, because nobody's going to come for weeks.
You don't need to be between jobs. You could have a job just being like your personal
you could
concierge.
Be the concierge.
I have to figure out a way to monetize
this. You need to be a concierge.
Take people out. We had a guest once who did just recently. He's a tour driver.
Yeah.
That's
you know,
where
in
she
wine
heard about the
country.
bakery.
That's where I heard about the bakery. But I
yeah.
actually told
Oh, that's so funny.
I told
That
my
was
husband that's
Bruce.
his retirement job.
Yeah.
That's what he definitely
Oh,
has a
yeah.
knack for. But yeah, I mean, one of the things about coming out here often and also just getting older is that we don't do 23 wineries and 4
No,
days
no, right.
anymore.
With age comes wisdom.
Right. So, we usually will do one winery in a day. At most, we'll do two, unless it's a wine
An event, yeah.
event.
Well, especially when you're staying here for a while, you're so relaxed, leisurely. It's the way to do it. I mean, it's very hard when you're only here for 3 days.
Right,
but
and you're trying to fit in as
yeah.
much. But, so that leaves us time to do other things.
Right.
We can go wine tasting, and then we can go to, see galleries. Or,
Right.
go whale watch out at
or
Bodega.
go
Yeah.
whale watching,
Yeah.
which it's on our agenda possibly for this weekend.
The whales are out there right now.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I've
know.
heard. And the weather's so nice. And
I think last year the whales never left. They just love Sonoma so much.
Yeah, why would you leave?
really, go up to Alaska, it's cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just going to stay here.
We're just going to stay and hang out. And
Having a whale of a time.
and I'm not that much of an outdoors person, but like Armstrong Woods is,
Yes, and that's easy.
It's easy, right?
Yeah,
It's all
it's
flat.
like a
it's
little-
close,
Yeah, it's not like a brutal hike. It's a
Little
walking,
cathedral of redwoods.
just
so,
walking
yeah.
around.
My husband says I like nature when it's orderly, like with all the vines in a row.
Yeah, right. I like nature when it's room service.
But there are bookstores. I like Levin's, and they have. They have a nice little gallery upstairs as well. So there aren't a lot of independent bookstores around anymore. So
No.
that's always
Yeah, it's important to
nice
support our
I'm a
independent
big fan of
bookstores.
Copperfields. I spend more at Copperfields than I should. That's another
Yep.
bookstore right
Yep,
now.
yeah, no, I like them too. And you had somebody from Safari West on the podcast a while ago,
Yeah.
and we went and did that, and that was lots of fun.
Oh my
so
gosh, isn't that great?
it is. And I'm a big baseball fan, so I don't know if you've ever gone to see the Prune Packers.
Oh yeah.
So that they're a college league. There's a college league
Do they
around
play
here.
at the Boleto Diamond?
No.
or-
No. Oh, that's also another thing. No,
yeah.
they play up in
Healdsburg.
Healdsburg.
Oh,
And
Rec Park.
these are like the Cape Cod League is the
It's
one
like
on the East Coast.
semi-pro. It's like
But
semi-pro,
It's
you
like
know.
it's kids. It's
Like
kids who are playing baseball in college who are trying to play baseball for the summer.
like a farm-ish league.
Yes. Yeah, that's what it is.
And so that was fun. We did that one year.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, they pack those games. They're a blast.
They're called the Prune Packers?
And they've been called the Prune. There's been a team of some sort in Healdsburg for a long time called the Prune Packers. There were semi-pro ones, and now they're college
Because the
ones.
legacy,
and-
they used to grow a lot of
prunes,
prunes.
right,
right,
Yeah,
yes.
so there you go.
yes.
Yeah, they play the crabs. They're in Humboldt.
Oh, that's too funny.
Yeah.
Yep, and there's usually like a food truck outside where you
Yeah.
can get food, and
They're
Do
fun.
you have a favorite food truck?
I don't. So I don't. You'll have to give me recommendations. I haven't tried too many of the food trucks.
Well, there's a
around
great
here.
one in Guerneville.
Uh-huh.
We just call it the Guerneville Food Truck.
Yeah,
it's in the
it's in
Safeway
Safeway.
parking lot.
Uh-huh.
And then there's this great collection of food trucks. It's kind of like Western Santa Rosa, but it's on Sebastopol Avenue. It's I can't remember the name of the park, but it's a food truck park.
Oh, wow.
All different. It's at the highest level. All these different food trucks with Mexican food. Amazing collection. And then there's a Japanese kind of like neo Sonoma Japanese truck. I can't remember their name, but a great resource for that is Sonoma Magazine. And a recent issue, they listed all the food trucks.
Yep.
And but Lunchbox used to be a food truck because they go to a lot of breweries, and now they're actually a brick and mortar in Sebastopol. So sometimes they grow out of their truck into a
Yeah,
into a
right.
storefront.
Yeah, we've done that a couple times for lunch. So you only have a little bit of time left. So maybe, what did you say this weekend was going to be possibly whale watching?
Yep, and the cheese festival on Sunday.
Oh, then the cheese festival.
But tell me if there are things that I should do or wineries I shouldn't miss.
That's at the
or,
fairgrounds, the cheese festival.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they do an event on Saturday night that was sold out at the Barlow.
Oh, right. That's
And
right.
then they do a bigger event at the fairgrounds.
Are they doing the tours? They used
They
to be you
did
could do
on
the
Fri-
bus tour. Yeah.
Yep, they have like 3 or 4 tours.
Different
And then they
routes.
have some classes
The
and
different
whatever.
creameries. Yeah.
Yeah, so but we decided we just start with one event this time and see.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
And-
brilliant. That'll be great. We have so many great creameries and cheese makers here.
Yep.
So what don't we have?
I know. It's hard to keep up. Yeah, there's always something happening. Sonoma.com. Yeah, that's the way to go.
Yeah, SonomaCounty.com.
Yeah, Sonoma County. It is SonomaCounty.com.
Yeah, Sonoma.com is also a website, but the one I
you
think that
need
has
the
all the
county
best
one.
ones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you need the
Sonoma
county.
County is really the tourism
It's the tourism.
entity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sonoma County
it's a
Tourism.
tourism. And they're very good. You can put in what dates you're going to be there, and it'll list all the events.
They-
And we may also go down to the Botanic Gardens this weekend if it's not too hot, because they have a bonsai exhibit.
Where? In San Francisco?
No. In Santa Rosa.
Is that the Luther Burbank Center?
No.
Gardens?
It's at, what is it? Okay, now I'm going to have, I'll Google it and show you. But they have a big bonsai exhibit, and they have...
My God, Lord, I miss so many things.
I know. Well, when you go on vacation, you look all these things
Yeah,
up.
that's
It's-
right.
It's like,
Yeah.
look, I live just outside Washington, D.C. When friends come in, we go and do all the tourist stuff.
Right.
But,
Right.
it was, I'd been here 20 years before I went up to the Washington Monument, because
Well, it's still there.
it's still there. It was,
I'll
was...
see it next week.
Right. Exactly.
What part of Virginia are you in?
Arlington.
Oh, so you're right there. You're
I live
basically
about a mile and a half from the
You're
D.C.
basically
border.
in the district.
Yeah. In what we say is the original diamond of the district.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
gave back part of the district to Virginia around the Civil War. So,
Wow.
so yeah.
So I
so
feel
right
like saying, and so what's your website so people can contact you?
there. Well, you can help me on developing
Yeah,
it.
I think you should. I mean, you're a great font of information, a wonderful resource, and it's all tried and true and
Well,
tested.
that's the thing. I mean, if you keep coming back, there's a reason. And so, yeah, I think you are
You're
a
the best
real
advertisement
resource.
there is.
I mean, as I said as I started, it's just really the vibe and the feeling here,
Yeah.
and people are very welcoming, and you guys have people on who talk about with winemakers about them working with. Not being in competition with other
Right.
wineries, but cooperating, and I think that comes through to everyone. I was a few years ago. We were at a small winery called Knoll on Dry Creek Road,
Yeah.
and we're talking family owned, and we're talking to a woman who's one of the owners. And it was almost getting to harvest time, and they were trying to figure out if it was time to pick the grapes. And they're talking to other wineries, including, she says she calls over to Ridge, which is a really big winery.
Yeah.
And the winemaker talks to her, and they talk through about what they're thinking about when to pick and whether
very
things are right.
collaborative, yeah.
It's very,
It's important. You have to share knowledge. Be something happening across the valley is not necessarily happening in your vineyard
Right.
because of the microclimates, but then having that shared knowledge base and being able to be collaborative like that is really important. And the vibe here is chill, and it's relaxing to come here.
It is relaxing, and people, you go to the wineries, you don't feel, people are very helpful and willing to talk. And if there's someone pouring wine, we always ask, where do you like to go?
Where
do you like to go?
Right.
And usually they have a couple of favorites.
Yes.
And we found some very nice wineries that way.
Yeah, I think so. You find some small ones that people haven't heard of. And yeah, I think
Yep.
that's great. Okay, I do have one more thing I have to mention. As part of our 50th anniversary, I started to say wedding anniversary, but I guess it's not really that.
Well, you've been married to the wine road.
I've been married to the wine road for a while. So for the 50th anniversary for the wine road, we're doing something every month. So for June, we're going to kind of throw back to the good old days when wine tasting was free. And so on June 20th, we have a list of wineries that are offering complimentary tasting for the day. And it's a Saturday, so that's nice because usually things like that happen on a Tuesday when you can't go. So a Saturday is awesome. So you just go to wineroad.com, and right on the homepage at the top, there's a little link that takes you to all the 50th activities, and you'll see the list for June 20th. And that's that.
Sounds
There's nothing
good.
that needs to be done. It's free. You don't have to call ahead. You don't have to make a reservation. You don't have to buy a ticket. You just have to get in a car or hire a driver and show up. So that's it. That's all I have. Beth,
All right.
it was so awesome to have you.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you for
great
having me.
guest.
It's been a lot of fun.
It was
It was
super
nice
fun.
meeting you, Beth, and
Nice meeting you, too.
really your enthusiasm comes through. It's
Oh my
so
gosh,
cool.
I was talking when we got here that I had met up with Beth a couple weeks ago for coffee in the morning, and we sat there for 3 hours. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't done that, in my life.
How did you find the podcast? Just by researching things in
I don't
Just
remember.
Google in
Maybe
Sonoma County or something?
maybe it was mentioned at one of the wine road
Maybe at
events
an
or on
event
the
or
map
something.
or something.
Yeah.
Because that must have been how I found it. I don't even remember how I originally
It's a
found
good
it.
resource.
Yep.
It
Everything's
is.
there.
It's very relaxing when I'd have a stressful day at home. I just turn on the podcast and it sort of transport me back to northern Sonoma County.
And then she'd start baking. She's a baker.
Oh,
Who likes
wow.
to bake. I'm like, baking isn't a stress reliever for me.
It is for me.
I'm fascinated someone finds our voices relaxing.
I know, exactly.
Well, you're talking about wine and not
Yeah.
politics,
Yeah,
for
there you go.
instance.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
good
she's
vibes.
in D.C.
Yeah, boy,
We're-
you're in
we're-
the belly of the beast.
We're a stretch from D.C.
Boy.
Okay, so
Well,
I
good.
think that's it.
All right, so what are we putting in the show notes?
We're going to have Beth's phone number.
Beth's phone number and address.
I'll get the website up in
Yeah.
time.
So if you want Beth to meet you on the wine road, here's the deets. We should auction off a day with Beth. Yeah, that would be
That
fun.
is good.
Let an outsider be your insider,
Yeah.
and then you'll become the insider
Look
when
at
you
she's
move
just
here.
always got her wheels going.
Indeed. I'm gonna hire you as my business manager.
Yes,
Get in
should.
line.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
That's
I
awesome.
would be happy to do that. Yeah, all good. So we will see you on the wine road, Beth, for sure.
Absolutely.
That's it. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.